Look at a classical painting of an angel. What do you see? Soft white wings, glowing halos, gentle, comforting smiles. A being of absolute peace and tranquility. Now, take that image out of your head and burn it. Because the reality of the angelic realm is completely different. It is terrifying. It is vast. And at the apex of this terrifying hierarchy sits a being who is not a gentle messenger. He is not a soft-spoken guardian of children. He is a ruthless, unyielding, cosmic warlord. His name is Michael, and he is the reason you and I and the universe itself have not been consumed by darkness. But how did a being of pure, holy light become the most feared military commander in the history of existence? What drove him to pick up a weapon in a realm where death wasn't supposed to exist? Stick around, because the truth about the General of Heaven will completely shatter everything you thought you knew about the spiritual war raging all around us. To understand Michael, you have to forget human history. Forget Rome. Forget the world wars. Forget time itself. We are going back to the very beginning, before the first atom formed, before the concept of space and time even existed. Imagine an eternity of absolute perfection, the throne of the Creator, surrounded by beings of incomprehensible power and beauty. The seraphim burning with endless fire, the cherubim guarding the divine presence, and among them, the greatest of all created beings, Lucifer, the morning star, the seal of perfection. He was brilliant, he was beautiful, and he was dangerously arrogant. "I will ascend above the tops of the clouds," Lucifer whispered into the cosmic silence. "I will make myself like the Most High." That single thought was the birth of treason. It was a spiritual cancer that spread rapidly, infecting 1/3 of the stars of heaven. Billions of ancient, terrifyingly powerful entities turned their backs on the Creator. They prepared to storm the throne. The stakes were absolute. If Lucifer won, reality itself would collapse into tyrannical chaos. God did not negotiate. God did not ask for a peace treaty. God unleashed Michael. But who was this commander capable of breaking the morning star? And what exactly happens when immortal beings go to war? Have you ever wondered what the name Michael actually means? In human culture, we name our children after flowers or virtues or ancestors. But in the angelic realm, a name is not just a label. It is a definition of existence. It is a weapon. Mi-ka-el. In ancient Hebrew, it translates to a question: who is like God? Think about the psychological devastation of that name. Lucifer's entire rebellion was built on the arrogant premise that he could be exactly like God, that he could equal the Creator of all things. And so, God appoints a general whose very identity mocks that ambition. Every time Michael enters the battlefield, every time he draws his sword, his presence alone screams the answer to Lucifer's pride. No one is like God. Can you imagine being Lucifer? Staring across the cosmic battlefield, watching this relentless force of nature advancing toward you, carrying a name that completely dismantles your entire ideology. Michael doesn't just fight the enemy physically, he destroys them psychologically. But a name is just a name until it is tested in blood. and the first test was unlike anything the universe had ever seen. Open the book of Revelation, chapter 12. It reads like the script of a cosmic blockbuster, but it is described as historical fact. Then war broke out in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon. Let's pause right here. War in heaven. We hear those words, but we rarely process what they actually mean. How do immortal beings fight? You can't shoot an angel. You can't stab a spirit with iron or steel. This was not a war of flesh and blood. This was a war of fundamental reality. Forces of gravity, dark matter, supernovas, and the very fabric of dimensions clashing together. Picture the sky tearing open, galaxies weaponized. The deafening roar of billions of angels clashing in a realm composed entirely of blinding light and crushing spiritual pressure. And at the center of the carnage, Michael. He isn't depicted as conflicted. He isn't depicted as sad. When the order was given, Michael executed it with absolute cold-blooded efficiency. He faced the dragon, the terrifying new monstrous form of the once beautiful Lucifer, and he broke him. He didn't just defeat the rebels, he forcefully expelled them. He violently threw them out of the higher dimensions. A third of the stars cast down to the earth in a rain of ruin. Michael looked at his former brother, the being he had likely stood beside for eons, and felt no hesitation, only duty. But ask yourself this: what does it do to a mind, even an angelic one, to be the instrument of such catastrophic violence? Does Michael feel the weight of the billions he cast into the void? Let's step into the mind of the general for a moment. Put yourself in his heavily armored boots. You are perfectly obedient. You have no desire for the throne, but you are tasked with executing the wrath of the Almighty. You are the sword that never dulls. Every other angel has a specific, beautiful domain. Gabriel is the great communicator, bringing good news. Raphael is the great healer, restoring the broken. But you are the great destroyer of God's enemies. You don't get to bring messages of joy to frightened young women in Nazareth. You don't get to heal the blinded eyes of faithful men. You get the dirt. You get the blood. You get the trenches of the spiritual realm. Whenever there is a threat so severe, so apocalyptic that words fail, you are called. Is it a burden? Ancient rabbinical texts and apocryphal writings sometimes hint at the silent sorrow of Michael. According to the ancient book of Enoch, Michael is one of the 4 angels who look down from heaven and see the immense bloodshed upon the earth. He hears the cries of murdered humanity. He takes their pleas directly to the throne. He is not a mindless robot. He is deeply, violently passionate about protecting us. And perhaps that is exactly what makes him so lethal. He loves the Creator, and he loves humanity, which means his hatred for those who try to destroy us is absolutely infinite. But what happens when the ultimate cosmic warlord is forced to hold back? Here is a twist that completely redefines everything we know about true power. Fast forward thousands of years. The great prophet Moses has just died on Mount Nebo. He is completely alone. The wind is howling across the desolate peaks of Moab. According to the mysterious book of Jude in the New Testament, an unseen battle immediately erupts over Moses' physical body. The devil himself arrives to claim the corpse. Why? Perhaps to turn the body into an idol for the Israelites to worship. Perhaps simply out of spite. But Michael intercepts him. The general of heaven and the lord of hell, face to face, once again. The air crackles with the memories of the first war. The tension is unbearable. You would expect Michael to draw his blazing sword and obliterate Satan on the spot. You would expect a cosmic explosion, a blast of holy fire to atomize the devil. But he doesn't. Jude reveals a shocking detail. But even the Archangel Michael, when he was disputing with the devil about the body of Moses, did not himself dare to condemn him for slander, but said, "The Lord rebuke you." Wait, why? Why does the being who literally threw Satan out of heaven suddenly hold his tongue? Because Michael understands something that human leaders almost never do. True power is not about what you can destroy. True power is absolute submission to the chain of command. Michael did not have the divine authorization to judge Satan at that specific moment. The time for the final judgment had not yet come.
Against the backdrop
And so,
of collapsing
the
giants,
greatest warrior in the
persistent
universe
glow of a
sheathed
resilient
his sword.
nation shines eternal.
He deferred to God's timing. Have you ever had the power to destroy someone who wronged you? To ruin their reputation, to crush them with a single word, but you chose to hold back? That takes infinitely more strength than striking them down. Michael's restraint is precisely what makes him so dangerous. He is a weapon fully under control. But when he is unleashed, the results are terrifying. Let me take you to the ancient world, the dusty, sun-baked plains of Babylon. The Book of Daniel, chapter 10. Daniel, the legendary prophet, has been fasting and praying for 21 days. He eats no choice food, drinks no wine. He is desperate for a message from God about the future of his people. He is elderly, exhausted, and running out of hope. Finally, a terrifying angelic being appears to him. The angel's face is like lightning, his eyes like flaming torches. But the angel apologizes to Daniel. He says, "Your words were heard from the very first day, but I was delayed." Delayed? What could possibly delay an angel of the Lord? Traffic in the spiritual realm? Listen to the angel's chilling explanation. "The prince of the Persian kingdom resisted me 21 days. Then Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me." This is one of the most staggering revelations in all of ancient scripture. The Prince of Persia wasn't a human king. It was a high-ranking demonic entity. A territorial spirit so monstrously powerful that it grounded a divine messenger for 3 solid weeks. A multi-dimensional dogfight was happening right above the earth, completely invisible to the humans below. The messenger was pinned down, losing ground. And then, the heavy cavalry arrived. Imagine the sheer panic of the demonic forces when Michael entered the atmosphere. He didn't come to negotiate. He didn't come to deliver a message. He came to break the siege. With a single, devastating intervention, Michael crushed the resistance of the demonic prince, freeing the messenger to reach an old man weeping on his knees. Look at the contrast. Michael commands the forces of galaxies. He dictates the geometry of the stars. Yet he leaves the cosmic front lines to ensure that the prayer of one single, fragile human being gets answered. Does that change the way you view your own struggles? When you feel like your prayers are hitting a brick wall, when you feel surrounded by forces you cannot fight, could it be that a war is raging for you right now, just beyond the veil of your reality? And what if Michael is already en route? In the ancient world, it was deeply understood that nations were not just ruled by kings and politicians. They were ruled by spiritual forces. Every empire had its dark prince. Egypt had its gods. Babylon had its entities. Rome would eventually have its own. But Israel? The tiny, fractured, constantly besieged nation of Israel? They had Michael. The book of Daniel explicitly calls Michael the great prince who protects your people. Imagine the geopolitical implications of this reality. While empires marshaled armies of hundreds of thousands of men, wielding bronze spears and iron chariots, Israel's ultimate defense was a single cosmic warlord standing in the unseen realm. He was the invisible shield wall that kept the ancient world from completely annihilating God's chosen bloodline. Empires rose and fell. Babylon collapsed. Persia crumbled. Greece faded. Rome burned. But Israel survived. Why? Because the general assigned to their protection does not lose. He does not sleep. He does not retreat. But his protection isn't just national, it is deeply personal. There is a secret tradition whispered in the margins of ancient theology and apocalyptic texts like the Testament of Abraham. It suggests that Michael's assignment isn't just cosmic. It's uncomfortably intimate. In these ancient writings, Michael is given a terrifyingly beautiful title: the Commander of Death. When it is time for a righteous soul to leave this world, Michael is the one who rides down to separate the spirit from the flesh. He is not the grim reaper with a scythe coming to steal your life. He is the armed escort, stepping into the chaotic, terrifying void of death to ensure that no demonic force can touch a soul belonging to God. Think about the implications of that. You are never more vulnerable than in the moment of your death. The breath fails, the brain fades, the darkness rushes in. If the spiritual predators of the unseen world were ever going to strike, that would be the exact moment. But they don't. They can't. Because standing at the edge of the shadow of death, with a drawn sword blazing with the light of 1,000 suns, is the ruthless warlord of heaven. He looks at the gathering shadows, and he dares them to cross the line. Who is like God? The shadows flee. We are naturally terrified of dying, but perhaps if we could see the sheer, brutal magnitude of the protection escorting us home, we would never fear anything again. Yet Michael's ultimate mission is still not complete. The war that started before time began must have an end. Fast forward to the end of all things. The book of Revelation paints a picture of the future that is both glorious and absolutely dreadful. The dragon, Satan, has spent millennia poisoning the earth, deceiving nations, drowning humanity in blood, disease, and despair. He thinks he has won. He has set up his kingdom on the ashes of human history. And then the sky rolls back like a scroll. No more restraint. No more 21-day delays. No more "the Lord rebuke you." The time for mercy is permanently over. The time for judgment has arrived. Michael and his armies descend for the final campaign, the ultimate rematch. Revelation 20 describes an angel coming down out of heaven, having the key to the abyss, and holding in his hand a great chain. Many scholars believe this is Michael, stepping onto the battlefield one last time to finish what he started before the dawn of creation. Satan doesn't even put up a fight. The scriptures don't describe a prolonged, epic battle this time. The gap in power is simply too absolute. Michael seizes the dragon. He physically binds him. He violently throws him into the pitch-black, bottomless abyss and seals it shut. It is over. The ruthless efficiency of the heavenly general achieves its ultimate goal. The universe breathes a massive sigh of relief. The darkness is finally, eternally conquered. But as the dust settles on the cosmic battlefield, as the heavenly sword is finally sheathed for the last time, a profound realization washes over us. We live in a modern world that likes its spirituality soft. We want angels who play golden harps on fluffy white clouds. We want gentle, invisible guardians who whisper sweet, positive thoughts into our ears. But a gentle angel cannot fight a ruthless demon. A soft spirituality cannot withstand the crushing weight of modern depression, the viciousness of addiction, or the very real, tangible evil that walks through the streets of our world every single day. We don't need a mascot. We need a warlord. We need an entity who looks at the chaotic, terrifying darkness of this universe and does not flinch. An entity whose absolute, uncompromising dedication to the Creator makes him utterly fearless. The story of Archangel Michael is not just an ancient myth designed to scare children or comfort the dying. It is a profound, echoing truth about the nature of reality itself. Good is not weak. Righteousness is not passive. Light does not just gently illuminate the darkness. It violently eradicates it. If you are fighting a battle right now, whether it is against a destructive habit, a toxic relationship, a mental illness, or a spiritual darkness you can't even begin to name, remember who commands the armies of heaven. You are not fighting alone, and the forces standing with you have never lost a war. The general is watching. The sword is drawn. Who is like God? What unseen battle are you facing today that desperately needs the intervention of the General of Heaven? Have you ever felt that invisible, overwhelming protection in your own life? Share your thoughts and your personal stories down in the comments below. We read every single one, and your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. And if this journey into the brutal, beautiful reality of the spiritual realm opened your eyes, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you join our community. You won't want to miss our next revelation. Until next time, stay strong and keep your eyes on the unseen.